Welcome to our Pride episode of THC Design Sessions podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Savage, and today we have the honor of having Felicia Carbajal. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to say a little bit about you as if you're not sitting right next to me.
Let's see if I don't blush or get embarrassed.
Felicia is a longtime cannabis advocate, social entrepreneur, community organizer, author, and one of the most respected voices in cannabis equity and social justice. Many people know them from their Netflix documentary, Ladybuds, but their impact extends far beyond the screen. Today, Felicia serves as executive director of the Social Impact Center, an organization dedicated to supporting LGBTQ, that's how I pronounce it, LGBTQ+, and BIPOC communities disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs. This conversation is especially meaningful for us at THC Design because several years ago, we partnered with the Social Impact Center during Pride Month, donating a portion of proceeds from a special release to support their work and raise awareness around cannabis justice and equity. Felicia.
And our history actually goes further than that. So the first event that we hosted, y'all were a big part of making that possible for us. So our first, I want to say we raised $20,000 and this was foundational money. In 2019, you guys were a big part of it. So adding a little extra, just so y'all know that we're very grateful for the support from THC Design.
Well, I'm so thankful to be on the coattails of that. Thank you so much for having us be supporting you because you're doing actual work. We're just selling cool weed. Yeah. I mean, we're fun, but you're doing real work.
Well, and I had really good conversations with the team throughout the years who continue to maintain those same values that are in alignment, not just with me as a human, but also with our organization. So it's made it easy and very pleasant. I don't get to have that experience everywhere I go.
That's my favorite type of people is pleasant people.
You guys are very pleasant.
Yes, pleasant and actually put their money where their mouth is. Those are my favorite types of people. Amazing.
Because you could just be quiet, right?
Not me personally, but I've heard of that option.
But yeah, that is an option for a lot of people. They could just
shut the.
They could pretty much just button it.
Yeah, I don't know if in cannabis that's possible, but we are.
But they should. They should.
We can do a list of those folks at the end. But
no. I think our staff attorney would probably say that I should not.
Every voice matters.
I need to talk to our legal team before I can actually.
No, I love it. I love every voice. I love it. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how cannabis first entered your life.
So cannabis first entered my life when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. I mean, just in terms of exposure. So I'm Mexican American and my family always seemed to have some kind of function or party on Friday or Saturday night with cousins playing musical instruments and singing. And I'd always I was so fascinated when I'd see them. I didn't know what they were doing because the kids couldn't be around, but there's always this passing nature. And I remember my dad had this giant roach clip that had this amazing, beautiful feather on it that sat on his hat in the closet. And it was just, I knew that they used that. Mm-hmm. So that's one of my first memories. But my second memory, which actually revolutionized my life, was when somebody threw a sack of weed on the table in my apartment in Berkeley and told me, "Hey, Felicia, you look white enough." And I knew what that already meant. I knew what it meant.
Go for it,
I knew that I was going to have a lot of access, and it was going to be easy for me to put in my little JanSport backpack and get on that BART and not be fucked with.
Yes.
And so that's what happened. And that's what happened.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I was scared and nervous, but I'm also... During that time in my life, I got to hold a girl's hand for the first time and be queer and not have to be in my hometown with my homophobic church and those friends. And I just got to be me. And so in that moment and in those moments, I might have been a little challenging, like, "Hi, officer," as I'm walking with that bag. But that's the memory that shapes me the most, that while I was scared, I knew that I was on a mission. And the mission was, number one, to cuss my friend out for not telling me that they were HIV positive. And then number two, loving on them afterwards, because I was basically going into a house with a bunch of other people that I knew who were also HIV or who had AIDS and who needed this. And through them, I got to experience and see a lot of things, because when I was taking that sack over, if I'm being really honest, I was all like, this is helping with what? Like, really?
Yeah.
And not having that kind of awareness of what they were going through physically and experiencing, and what relief it gave them. And just, knowing the science and knowing what I've been able to learn throughout the years in the cannabis space,
Yep.
because I was there before it was an industry, and I got to do cool things with really creative, innovative, this to everybody who has rules, that says that we can't help people who need this. And they help shape that. So that's the third thing. So I got to have dad and cousins introduce me, and then be able to be selfless for somebody that I love, and then be able to be a little less selfless with actual action to see more people get the help and the resources that they need.
What was the industry like when you first got involved?
Well, it wasn't an industry because it was 1995 and I was just a dumb kid who wanted to help my friends, and I had enough money and enough people to recruit to make that long trek with me and drive back. So it was community. It was just a lot of radical hippies before a lot of them sold out. And it was people who really cared not just about the land, but they cared about each other.
It's beautiful.
I think so.
It was a vibe.
It was the vibe, not a vibe. It was the vibe. It was the reason why somebody who had always been a part of counterculture, who was generations younger than some of these people, but who could just like blend in, because at the end of the day, we were just all humans having our own experience. And that's what I got to experience. I mean, and then when we talk about industry, I mean, to tell people like, dude, the industry literally broke my heart. After all of the work that I've done,
I watched Ladybuds. Yes.
broke my heart, disappointed, made me almost ashamed for a long time. Like, we did a lot of internal removal of cannabis, and my name associated to my own organization because of the pitfalls that we were experiencing with funding and being able to move. So for me, I was just like, dude, I led the cannabis social equity movement and I had no financial interest in this at all. And you guys can't even you can't even put 5 on it. You should be embarrassed. So for me, I try to hold so tight to like the feelings of community and what it looks like for those of us who really just love this plant, like really love this plant and love to be able to nerd out on what it does for people, and people having this huge awakening, not just, oh my gosh, I just smoked a joint and it revolutionized my life. And I don't think I'll ever be the same, to those moments when people are all like, I was just so against this plant and I didn't even realize how she could help me. Like, now I live for just overhearing those portions of conversation and listening to people have those awakenings, or having conversations with my 86-year-old aunt who's asking and who's inquiring about all of these things. That's what excites me now about where the industry is, but not necessarily with me having to be a part of it.
What's your involvement at this time?
The last conversation I had with somebody is I told folks, this is probably, people are not going to like me for this, but I'm going to be really honest, and I don't give a shit whether people like me or not. Somebody asked me to be present and to do something. I literally came here out of my respect for Alexis and this company and this brand's values. But I've had to tell other people who I've been friends with for a long time that I don't owe the cannabis industry shit. The only thing that I owe this plant is to smoke her, eat her, lather in her, bathe in her.
Love on her.
Love on her and let her love on me. But outside of that, I mean, I am having conversations again with certain brands who are asking the right kinds of questions.
Great.
I still consult with government agencies about best practices surrounding social equity and what we really need to do to help people heal from those harms from the war on drugs.
Great.
And what that looks like. And recently, I have also forgiven the industry.
Well,
I don't know what that looks like past sure, we can talk about how you want to get involved, what you'd like to do with the organization. And for me, that was a big step in my healing process, because I love this plant and I love the people who love her. They're some of the best, dopest people that I've ever met.
They're still there.
They're still there.
Yeah. Yeah. They're woven in. Those are my favorite people to deal with as well. And to be transparent, I'd spoken to Alexis about like wanting to talk about equity on the THC Design Sessions podcast, because I think it's a really important conversation that a lot of people have pushed to the side. And I think that's absolute bullshit.
I mean, it's unfortunate that if we remember and we go back to just language, right? Like, hey, Californians were sold on this idea. And the idea wasn't people's pockets were going to get lined.
Yeah.
Who weren't harmed. This idea was that like, wow, we brought all of these black and brown bodies to show you what the difference is going to make. And now, because a shift of priorities, a shift of views, that all of a sudden now we don't even have to care. We don't have to acknowledge or recognize that there were a lot of people here before you who helped actually create and innovate in this space, because had they not, we wouldn't still be having the same conversation about CBD and basic bitch shit surrounding this plant. We'd actually have innovation. We'd actually see things coming to market that nobody's seen before. Not the same shit over and over again.
I feel you. I know the farmers in NorCal are above and beyond. And maybe it just needs to go through this like Colgate toothpaste section and then get back to fine wines or something. You know, it's the most evil coming in. And I always say the guys who just want to make money off of this shit should just go sell coke. You have a bad attitude. You know, weed is about community.
And you'd probably make a lot more money if you actually sold it right than what you'd be facing in this space. I mean, you just had me literally think about it. I was like, dude, those margins seem maybe healthier, Chad, for you. They might be a little bit healthier.
Brad Chad. Brad Chad. Yes.
Brad Chad.
Wow.
To be able to reconcile, like I've had to, that like there are bad actors in every hue of the spectrum.
Sure.
I mean, and it's unfortunate, like I've had to share space with lots of people. I mean, trust me, I know that I look white. You see my Spanish ancestors, but I am definitely, both of my parents are Mexican American. And I've seen some of the worst actors that come from my communities, and it breaks my heart when I've seen people poverty pimping for the just for the act of pimping and no other reason than you're just looking at this and you're just like, wow, this is gross.
Yeah, I like to say that there's some of the old school folks are terrible and some of them are wonderful. Some of the corporate folks are terrible and some of them are wonderful. Legal doesn't mean good. Illegal doesn't mean bad. There's just so many different personalities, and the folks that are really in it for the plant are who I seek, and the folks that like have a good spirit about it and 100%. Like want to help people.
This plant is magical. Like,
yes.
She's going to
take advantage of her.
Like to say she's going to outlive
all these bozos. All those bozos.
She's going to live out all of your generational wealth that you're trying to accumulate. She's going to be here way longer.
You can't capitalize on her.
No.
She's too beautiful.
She's too beautiful.
Damn.
And she's too ancient.
Yes.
Like to be able to, like when we're talking about just how old this plant is, how sacred, how revered she is in other parts of the world.
She's got ancestors.
A lot.
Wow.
From a lot of that rainbow that I talked about.
Gay.
And gay.
And gay.
Not just gay, and queer. No, I think she's just queer.
Oh, yeah,
she's
queer.
super queer. She's super queer. She's super queer.
I feel like queer overtook gay is the term.
Well, we reclaimed it. A lot of us who had to experience people side-eyeing us from our generation. So, you know, a lot of Gen Xers and some of the boomers. I'm making sure, but a lot of us, those words were thrown at us.
Yeah, of course.
And there's some of us that are like, no, fuck you. I accept this.
You know what? I am queer.
I'm super queer. Does that scare you? Can you choke on it while you're at it? I know we can be friends in real life. You're like, oh my gosh, Felicia, I want to smoke a joint with you.
Let's go, gays. Gay weed is my favorite weed month.
Yeah.
June, when all the weed turns gay.
Well, it turns, so just so you know, we're not relegated to just 1 month. because October is also Queer History Month. So if we can start stacking.
Croptober.
Croptober.
Queer Croptober.
It's an alignment.
Wow. I mean, I think that Pride Month has the best humor. Some of the memes that are coming out are really getting to me. I'm loving them. I love the gays. It's just so funny to yell gay in the middle of the street. It's just funny. I like it somewhere safe.
Like West Hollywood. You're like, I'll say it anywhere. Well, no. I'm really going to just say it in West Hollywood where I know the likelihood.
When I said that, the street I pictured was Santa Monica and West Hollywood.
Of course you did. Right by the Rainbow Crossing, right? By the Rainbow Crossing.
Yes, I sell to a dispensary in the Castro. And the other day I said to him, I was like, it's pretty gay around here. He goes, not gay enough. He's like, a lot of rainbow flags, but I think West Hollywood's gayer. I was like, we can have a gay off.
I mean, I think he might be right just because of the shift in the city. Like San Francisco shift has definitely displaced a lot of people who used to live there.
Yeah, that's great.
Sorry, San Francisco. You
got to get gayer again.
Got to bring out all of those all of those tech gays that are still in the closet.
Controversial thing to say after all this shit talk on the industry, but gays need to make a little more money, and then we can get back in there. But then it's like, we're going tit for tat with Chad and Brad with the fleece vests.
There are certain brands that have built out, certain queer brands in particular, that have built out enough just for them to have a nice piece of the pie, like my friends at Green Queen, who are definitely like, I mean, I'm grateful that I got to be a little part of their origin story and ensure that they got their first investment dollars to be able to hold on to their space and to be able to open up. But past that, to see all of the beauty that they've created and the spaces that they're opening up in.
Big shout out Green Queen.
Big shout out.
Yeah.
They're my friends. I love them.
Yeah, love them. I love their graphic on the front that says pro-ho.
Oh.
I know that'll get cut out here, but
they're very pro-ho. Very, very, very pro-ho.
Many people were introduced to your story through Ladybuds. Yeah. What was it like sharing your story through that documentary?
So when I met Chris, I was a little reluctant not to tell my story because I told my story to so many people in so many different spaces and so many different intersections. That wasn't a part of it. It was just how the rest of the story was going to be framed. Like, where the hell do I fit into all of this? I think that she did a wonderful job at that time and where we were in history to be able to shine a light on so many incredible women who were on their journey, who'd been on their journeys for decades, to be able to honor them in that capacity. I think my wife might have a different answer because she's a lot more private of a person than I am. But I think for me, it was just something that needed to happen because somebody needed to be able to remind folks that a lot of us dykes were a part of the movement and worked really hard to be able to ensure that people that we loved who didn't have family around them to love them, that they were a part of the conversation. Yes. So I'm grateful
for that highlight.
For that.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah, that was great.
The rest of it, I mean, sure, I lost the election, but ended up still being put on whatever that roller coaster of political, I will never do anything like that again. And when people approach me with, when are you going to run for office? Never. Like they said, once in your life, let people vote for you. I let people once in my life vote for me and they failed me. So, and I failed them. And I failed them.
No, you did the best you could. And that's,
I was the first runner up. So the first loser.
Hey, silver's not bad.
Oh no, I'm not from that generation. I don't believe in just getting a participation award.
That's my millennial showing.
That's a little too much for me.
My millennial's showing right through. Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean the cannabis market and advocating for it is not easy. So I understand.
I mean, I had so many people when we were doing the social equity movement always come up and say, thank you for doing this. And I'm all like,
my Venmo is
where you can drop some ducats is right here.
Here's a QR code. Yeah.
And now it's beautiful to see folks really trying to center portions of that conversation and preserve it, not just for people in California, but across the country.
Have you been able to go out of state with your knowledge base?
I mean, I was doing that before people knew that they could.
Okay.
Not just surrounding cannabis equity, but just even talking about cannabis freedom and what does that look like for people to have access across the country. So, I mean, I've been doing that since 2012.
Cool.
But in terms of this portion, no, I don't want to hype anybody up on cannabis social equity is actually going to create generational wealth for you, or you're actually going to be able to participate in this model that wasn't really built for you, that was designed by
How about you keep your store open for 3 years before, or pay the rent for 3 years before you can open your store? How's that sound?
Oh, sure. All of the things. All of the things.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. It's silly to do injustice to those that you've built up to say they had injustices do them and then do more. Isn't that weird?
I mean, it is.
It's an interesting
it's part of the status quo.
It's like a puppetry of bullshit.
Well, I mean, it's the relationship that many of us who grew up poor have had with this government. So to be able to recognize that, like, oh, I'm not poor now. Like, I live in abundance.
But I know what you mean. Like the systems that are like, look,
like,
we'll help you. We got you.
We've got you. Or
isn't this terrible? Let's help. And then just, oops, we couldn't push the forms through.
Oh, well, we built the infrastructure. Unfortunately, we just can't
move from here. Budgets.
Misguided consultants who gave us a direction that was totally wrong, and now there's no way to rectify it because.
Oh no.
It's unfortunate. I mean, a lot of it is, right, to be able to say, like, hey, you set up a queer Black woman to direct the city of Los Angeles to fail. And she did her damnedest, and her friends and her community around her made sure to celebrate her even after. But to also reconcile with, like, dude, hell is paved with good intentions. And we saw a lot of good intentions surrounding this, but no real meat to it. And we're seeing it play out similarly in the county. I want to believe that the county is going to try to do something better and that their approach is going to be a little bit different. But my gut left me with, I can't even help support by advertising this. I can't even share this with the reentry community because, God forbid, somebody I know gets harmed in this way, gets harmed because you brought it up, gets harmed.
Yes. Then you recommended the situation.
Well, then we're both going to have to pull up, me and this harmed person, and have these very uncomfortable conversations with
There used to be a lot more baseball bats in this industry, I think. I
mean, my house has a gay as fuck one right next to my bed.
Send a pic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's hilarious. Is it a rainbow bat?
No, it's just black with pink, gay as fuck. There's a queer-owned company in West Hollywood that manufactures all kinds of clothing, and they just happen to have a bat. And somebody said, Felicia, you have bats in your house, don't you? And I was like, next to every damn door, anything that opens.
Wow. I got to come hang out.
Yeah. You can see my collection of beautiful bats. Maybe you can bring a rainbow one as a house gift.
I would love to. Yeah,
if you can find one, dude, send it to me.
Unfortunately, talk about capitalism, that exists.
No, a good one. Let me preface. Not.
Oh, you want like a slugger?
Yeah.
You want something that's pro league?
Something that's legitimate.
You know, the women's baseball league, I'm sure they're about to sell something like that. It's about to be gay. It's starting in August. But who's counting, you know?
August is right around the corner.
I know. I'm so excited. Amazing. Let's talk about the gays for a little bit.
Sure. They're my favorites to talk about. So my favorites.
Let's go gays.
I love that.
It's gay month, baby.
It really is. It's the best season of the year right now.
I can picture a little gay flag in your hand right now. You're like, it's the best.
It's just the best. Season. Well, I mean, you won't find me. I mean, with the exception of the San Fernando Valley Pride, I know that sounds like a oxymoron to be able to say sitting in Hollywood.
Sounds like a small group.
It's growing and it's remained focused on our radical roots. So I know I can show up with some bricks that are honoring Marsha P. and Sylvia and letting other people write their names on some bricks just so that we can all feel it.
Remember.
And that nobody's going to be wondering if we're going to throw those bricks.
No one's throwing a brick.
I mean, although we are right in front of the jail and the courthouse and all of these institutional places that probably
should have a brick thrown at them.
Need to see some of these bricks up close and personal. I like it just because there's so many beautiful young organizers who are really trying to fight and preserve our values and not allow it to become so commercial. And so I can feel like myself.
50s dope ass cannabis advocate.
The impetus to why I'm here and get to sit here and why the cannabis industry can't get rid of me because I'm actually somebody who participated to be able to, like, I phone banked too for Prop 215, only a couple of times, but I phone banked for that shit too.
Yeah. So you've been in it for the
majority of my adult life.
Like the heart of the reason of the plant is the medicine.
Oh, you mean when it was really gay? Yeah.
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 When the weed was so gay. It was life or death.
When it was life or death. And when so many queer people were willing to put a face to a consumer and a story behind it, when people were scared to be, to be able to say, like, as queer people, like, being out of every closet is magical. Mm-hmm. So to be able to come out of a cannabis closet and to be able to say, like, oh, dude,
it is two different closets.
It's two different closets. Wow. And to be able to see, for me, it was just like, wow. And I didn't consume cannabis at that time. Like, I had some not so great experiences with cannabis, and I enjoyed psychedelics a lot more during that time period in my life. And it opened me up to being able to be so giving and so loving and making those kinds of sacrifices for community. And, I often tell people, like, dude, they told me that there was money on the table. And my first response was, well, who am I supposed to give it to? Because I thought I was just taking a sack of weed to my friends. And I got to be able to see all of these other things and experience more than I probably would have ever community-wise in terms of meeting all kinds of different people. And I don't mean just the good ones, like to tell people I've been robbed and all of the things. Yeah. I've had guns in my temple and all of the things. But to be able to say, like, I'm here now and I still love this plant and you don't get to take her away from me and you don't get to take her away from the gays is fulfilling. You can't take her away from us. And I'm going to personally make sure, as a person who's been on the One Institute's Circa committee for the last 3 years, that these stories are preserved in historical places so that they cannot forget who made cannabis happen, who made legalization as equitable as we possibly could under the conditions that we were under, like to be able to remind people, like, can we talk about the grandfathering nature of this industry here in the city of Los Angeles without people being offended, and really just recognizing that once we talk about grandfathering in spaces, we're already creating and excluding so many other people. It's okay, pre-ICO. We still love you. We understand you made all of those sacrifices to be in those spaces. But if we're going to be technical about language, you were grandfathered in. Grandfathered is not good.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
A lot of personalities.
A lot of personalities.
You have helped clear cannabis convictions.
I've helped clear a lot of convictions. So we have helped clear about 60,000 cannabis convictions across the country, 58,000 plus in Los Angeles County alone. That was
Felicia, that's huge.
I'm aware. I'm aware.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just hosting a podcast. You're out here helping people. God damn it. Anyway, no, it's not about me.
You
I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you.
You're going to help me. Trust me. There's some some things. After we're done in the celebratory nature of Pride, I will be
Once it's July 1st.
Oh yeah, once it's July 1st, that's when the gay tax really happens. Right now you got in, but after that the gay tax happens.
Go on about
but yeah,
that.
I mean, we're super fortunate that the district attorney's office, or the last district attorney's office, was willing to hear our rationalization that there couldn't possibly be only 69,000 Angelenos who had cannabis convictions that qualified for expungement. And just in those conversations alone, they identified 58,000 additional. And while there was not a magic wand and automation has not lived up to all of its dreams, I am super fortunate that a national organization recruited me and had me help them launch in the 9 most incarcerated states a program called Time Done, ensuring that people who've been incarcerated have their time done. And then in California, we were able to pass SB 731, the most progressive expungement policy in the country that ensures anybody for any conviction minus sex offenses are eligible to petition the court to get their record expunged. So this opened the floodgate, and it also solidified, because there was a component to it that helped with the automation process, because I couldn't live with myself with everybody saying we helped 58,000 people, and it was a trickle-in function. So I went back and went to go work for a big national organization to ensure that the 58,000 Angelenos who had cannabis convictions got them expunged, and then opened the floodgates for anybody who's caused harm to be able to actually have redemption. So I have huge, to be able to say, I'm done. I'm not done. There's still a lot of work to do, but I've done enough, and I've done more than my fair share. And I recognize and acknowledge that. So thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't thank
incredible.
you.
No, you're incredible. This is amazing, because I have personally been affected by incarceration, and it is devastating to families.
1 in 4 Americans, to remind people, 1 in 4 Americans have been impacted and been criminal. And 1 in 4 just criminalized where they're taking your fingerprints. That's not talking about all of the other aspects of criminalization that we're seeing today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's devastating to folks, and it completely fucks up the rest of your life in very concrete ways.
Well, there are 44,000 collateral consequences that exist for anybody who's had a conviction for anything. 44,000 across this country, and most of those are economic sanctions. So people's ability to be able to make money and to be able to support themselves.
Yes.
Stupid. Some of them are
jobs, yeah.
Oh, some of them you're reading it and you're just all like, dude, whose petty ass put this in
it was
here?
His cousin was a piece of shit, so he wrote that law.
You can't be a bingo caller. And that is one of the things.
No, it's not. You can't call bingo with a conviction?
Yeah. In some states, that is an actual provision. So when I call it economic sanctions, I don't know how much a bingo caller makes. I have no idea what that even looks like. And
that's
what
probably
kind of
on the lighter hearted section.
Potentially. I feel like it's a career move for some people. I don't know. Arkansas.
In a better economy,
I don't know.
In a better economy, I feel like you could really call that.
Somewhere. But to be able to recognize that there's so many collateral consequences that people have to face. And oftentimes people think just that one person's impacted. You brought it up, the whole family experiences incarceration. The whole family experiences this harm.
And the stigma and the
stigma, having to learn how to navigate, having to figure out a new kind of grieving process, because this person is still alive, but they're not somebody you can touch every day, that you can see every day, that you can have those kinds of connections with.
And the mental health impacts.
Because institutions have caused layers and layers surrounding wellness.
Yep.
Now we just have to call it wellness, because if we call it mental health in the community's handing our ass, this is not mental health. I am not a statistic, or I'm not all of these things. Yeah. In reality, most of us are, because of what we've experienced.
I heard someone refer to it as PTS instead of PTSD. It's not a disorder. It's just stress.
I mean, it's the reason why we don't call our expungement events clinics, because we've had community tell us, well, what's wrong with me? And then I immediately go back to like my first doctor's appointment, or the one you get for elementary school. And I was like, dude, I had it at a fucking church.
Yeah.
Like we were poor, where we lined up for this kind of health care. Like that was a clinic that I was participating in. These community members just need us to help them file their paperwork, explain, interview. And while we do have a staff attorney and we do have people who this would be their clinician, they don't even refer to it as clinics.
Like, let's change that.
Yeah, I was just like, dude, it's just an event like anything else.
An event.
It's just an event.
A gathering.
We're just hanging out.
Let's all just hang out.
We're just hanging out.
And make this a better situation for several folks.
Well, how do we help community, right? Like community, how do we heal in communities that we've been harmed in? At the same time, it's that big reconciliation with, I want to see somebody who maybe came from a neighborhood like mine. Or I want to see somebody who hasn't come from a neighborhood like mine hear my story and be able to have sympathy and to be able to empathize. So for me, this expungement work, although I often remind people, I'm like, I was a reluctant leader. The communities that we were organizing National Expungement Week, they outvoted me. I was the only, I don't want to do expungement, guys. And their challenge and their reminder that like how important this is to be able to have two of my friends. They went by the Hemp Twins and they created a hemp program at LA Trade Tech, like the first one in the country that we're just talking about how do we build with all of these textiles. And these two beautiful twins told me, Felicia,
I've met them.
I'm sure you have.
Yes.
They shared with me, Felicia, like, I don't have any kind of conviction. I just am a kid who grew up poor in the hood. And if things are bad for me, I can't even imagine what it's like for somebody who has a conviction. And in those moments, I mean, and there was like challenge accepted. I remember thinking, okay, you just activated that Wonder Woman nerve that I've got. We're like, okay, we're going to do this. Are you sure we're going to do this? Because we're going to go 10 toes. How many toes you got? 2? You got 10? Yeah. Oh, you got 10? We're going hard for our people. Yeah. And to be able to see, would you say 58,000? And it's more like 60 just for cannabis related convictions. And now we're not even counting. I mean, that's a lie. We do collect data and we do know what people's convictions are, but it's just like, how can we have the biggest impact on communities that historically have just been harmed and haven't been supported? And we know that it stems from the war on drugs, even if they don't have a drug related conviction.
Certainly. Yeah, because that's a domino effect throughout the community.
Oh yeah.
This work ultimately led to Social Impact Center.
Yes.
Love it. Tell us about the organization and its mission.
The Social Impact Center empowers LGBTQ and BIPOC community members through stigma-free organizing, mutual aid. That's our expungement work. Mental health services, storytelling, and advocacy.
Love that.
So our advocacy has been some of the most rewarding work for me as a community organizer, to be able to be a part of the Reimagine LA Coalition and this broader group of badass organizations that are ensuring that communities that have been harmed get to have some healing. So those are the folks that made Measure J happen, and what should have been millions and millions and millions, close to $1 billion by now, of resources poured back in the community. They're the folks that are still holding the ground and ensuring that money is allocated to organizations. And that's been my greatest pleasure. But my team would say, like, we're still doing that expungement work. We've deconstructed the entire process from institutionalized and dry and not human and take a number and sit here to be something that people can hold in their body so that they can remember what they experienced, so that they can tell other folks. We also, most recently, we became we have a social enterprise arm, because while people think nonprofits are where it's at and you can get all of this funding, that is not the case, folks. So we started.
I've heard nonprofit fundraising is
it's a lot of work.
Yes.
Running a nonprofit organization is a lot of work. We're super grateful that we're still here. We also recognize that we're some of the last of the Mohicans who were birthed during cannabis legalization. We're still doing amazing work serving our community and the broader community, because we know how to make friends and have people like us. we got some tips that we could definitely share with other folks so that they understand these nuances.
Amazing. Have there been cannabis companies that have partnered?
We've figured out as an organization, serving community, like I mentioned, got $1 million grant from the state of California. We've gotten county grants that have been
Great.
Wonderful for our work.
Okay.
And we are in the process of talking to a couple of cannabis brands that recently participated in a board expansion mixer that they were invited. They had been a part of the work.
Having worked in cannabis for decades, how have you seen the experience of LGBTQ people in this industry evolve?
I think there's a lot more of us who are represented in different places. I think, I mentioned my friends at Green Queen. They were very intentional with, who they hire, who they bring in. I think that has given a lot of room for other folks to see that, like, oh my gosh, they're having fun. Oh my gosh, they're just really cool people. We should start hiring some of the other gays because look at how much fun they're having over there. I think that has been a definite, like, beautiful shift to be able to see that in particular. And I mean, past that, I don't have a really big frame of reference. I have queer friends who work in different aspects of the industry, from researchers to folks who are still working on the floor at a store, folks who are still working in sales, folks who are doing their own creative spaces but bringing cannabis into it. I think queer folks are just everywhere, and so we're going to be in weed because we're everywhere. And I think queer folks in particular, because they have this amazing history with the plant and they know whose shoulders they stand. Most of the queers, not all of them, because I've still had to school some of the gabies, specific gabies. Nice. Some of them, like generations. I'm like, oh, you're so cute. What are you, 22, 23?
Oh, you came out young.
You're so beautiful. You're so cute. And you don't know this part.
Yes.
But they've been really receptive. And I think once they recognize that portion of the shoulders that they stand on, it just really elevates them as folks who work in the industry to, like, reclaim and take up as much space as they possibly can.
I'm going to be honest, Felicia, you got a lot of shoulders to stand on. I'm saying, like, you kind of, like, talk about shoulders. That's kind of part of your work. I'm just ad-libbing here.
I mean, what are you saying?
I'm saying, like, you talk about the history and the, like, I'm not saying you got shoulders.
I do, though. I do. That's okay. It doesn't offend me. I'm my dad's daughter. I already know.
I look like my daddy as well. These shoulder pads here, but I'm saying, like, the history and, like, what you've built and that sort of, like, being your
Well, I mean,
MO.
I hope to be able to inspire. I mean, my team is filled with amazing, brilliant young people. Some qualify as youth, and to be able to see their trajectory. So, like, I stole a lot of people who work for me from weed.
Yeah.
This has been this eldership, and to be able to, like, pour into my team.
That's what I'm saying.
And to be able to see, like, for me, like, my return on investment, like, I'm sitting pretty with what we've been able to do as an organization and who we've been able to build.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, you're cool.
Oh yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah.
We're good.
I mean, that's probably why we invited you on, but also I just wanted to let you know that I now know that as well, like IRL,
Well, I think Alexis knows that I'm super picky and very selective. And for me, like, you guys have always been one of those standout groups that
Thank you.
Put your money where your mouth is and are more than willing to, like, invite me, even though I'm going to probably say things that rub certain people the wrong way. And
it's okay. It's Pride Month. You can say whatever you want.
I mean, I'm going to say whatever I want all whole year long,
365,
but
all 12 months.
During Pride, it's a little bit extra.
Show the shirt.
Because I'm smart, sexy, and don't forget, ungovernable. Like the rest of the queers, we are smart, sexy, and very ungovernable. Especially this year and all of the rest of the years to come, because we've been way too nice to everybody. And now there's no more nice when it comes to this.
And we're like, anyway. We're not being nice. Anyway, but yeah, amazing. Well, the Social Impact Center during Pride Month must be a vibe.
You know, we kicked off Pride with hosting a mixer and inviting community and our partners and folks specifically who were potentially interested in joining our board or hearing more about what it looks like to be a part of this next iteration and all of the amazing things that we're going to be doing. And that kind of just set the tone because this is a release just because Felicia, we have several other shirts that we made, but Felicia didn't want to show up to Pride this year with just a Social Impact Center logo on it. And so Felicia sat there and wrote out some things and had people who are way more creative than me
make the t-shirts,
put them together. And so Pride for us, we have a few Prides that we're going to be participating in and just giving out these shirts for some visibility and just.
Amazing. I'm a size large.
I'm
a large man.
Okay. If you say so.
Well, maybe a small. I'm either an extra small or an extra large.
Well, if you come to one of the Prides, I'll work on getting you a shirt, but we have one of my team members who also is going to be coming out with a little apron and scissors because
gay.
I love gay. I love gay. Super. Like,
this is what I'm saying is like the memes and the merch and it's all so funny.
I mean, everybody was like, Felicia, are you sure? And I was all like, dude, I wanted something that just didn't have a logo on it. I don't care if you guys make your crop, do whatever you need to do to make you feel good. I don't care if you get rid of the cow neck on the t-shirts. Like, I don't like a cow neck either. So
I heard at the WNBA games, they put t-shirts on the chairs and they're all extra larges and then everyone like styles them.
Interesting.
We got to get down there.
We do.
We got to get down there.
I haven't been to a WNBA game in a while.
Let me pull out my gay pin. Yay! Okay, sorry. All right.
Will it get us in for free this month? Maybe. We could try. They might turn us away.
Pride night was Sunday at WNBA at the Sparks. But every night, I'm almost positive.
Every night at WNBA. Yes, every night is Pride night.
We do need to involve ourselves there. All right, some quick hits.
Yep.
This section we call quick hits. I'm going to ask you some quick questions, and you're going to answer quick. Gotcha?
Yep.
Ready? Favorite way to consume?
Oh, I like to smoke me a nice joint.
I love that. I love that too.
As many as I possibly can.
As many as I can.
As many as I can in a day.
Most underrated thing happening in cannabis right now?
I don't know. I'm very underwhelmed, so I don't have an answer for you surrounding that. I wish that I did.
Well, you got to get you to our last guest's events that she does that are like very intentional and very cool. Where she did like a dumpling rolling.
I'd love to go to smart shit.
Yeah. They had a philosophy, like a high philosophy session where everyone like yapped on a certain topic at the party. It was like unpretentious. Anywho's, intentional vibes is what you seek.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I'm also someone who shows up to a function like this, so we'll find you something.
I mean, I'm neurodivergent, so like you're gonna either get me or you're not, and if you don't, that door's right there, and I have no problem walking myself out. So,
a book everyone should read. Your book. Sorry, that sigh was amazing.
I would love for more people to read the book that I wrote, but I don't think that that's necessarily the book that folks should be reading. 1984.
Nice. And Harm to Healing.
Sure.
Great.
Mine is a quick read, so you can get that done in a couple of hours.
And then you can put it on the books list that you did.
Yeah.
Okay. A person who inspires you.
I wish that was a quick answer for you. I'm inspired by so many people who change their lives and turn shit around. So the latest person that I'm inspired by is my friend Terrence, the co-founder of Time Done, who we were able to get their record expunged and got to show up to court for him. And I'm just inspired by that crip walk and dance that was done right across as we were leaving the courthouse.
Love that.
But I think I'm really inspired because even though they waited so long and they didn't get the support that they needed, they kept showing up every day for community. So they just inspire me so much by their drive to help others.
Shout out Terrence.
Shout out T Stew.
I love that. Wow. Now I'm trying to meet. Okay. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Nice. What brings you joy these days?
My dog, my Sochi girl. I love her.
I just adopted a puppy this weekend.
It's the best. Oh,
I know.
You are in store for so much love. I didn't even know that I needed a dog.
I love dogs more than people.
I mean, I do. I mean, I probably always did, but I never like loved on a dog the way that I get to love on my dog. And she's my favorite.
What's one thing people would be surprised to learn about you?
Surprised to learn about me. Surprise.
Surprise, bitch. That's why I say our pineapple surprise is pineapple surprise, bitch.
That I was the best damn crossing guard at Jackson Elementary School in Fresno, California on the east side.
Okay, TBT. There were no security cameras. There's no footage.
But
living.
There are pictures of me
I love that.
posing as a
Very
young
gay.
person
Very
and then
gay.
posing perhaps a couple of weeks ago when I went back to my hometown.
Oh, I love that. Okay, you did a renewal. Okay, so that you're really proud of that. I love that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Before we wrap up, where can people learn more about you and the work you're doing? Where can we find the Social Impact Center?
Well, you can find it on the magic box if you type in
.org.
.org. The social
Great.
impact. You have to spell it all out. Sorry, we were really searching for names and we decided for a long, odd one. But the socialimpactcenter.org.
I like it.
Yeah. And if you want to just have more me and not just the organization, you can find me at FeliciaCarbajal.com.
And where can we find your book, Harm to Healing?
Amazon.com. Well, I don't really want to shout out Amazon.
No, fuck Amazon. Sorry.
It's on Amazon, though. I don't have
Yeah.
no choice because that's where the publisher
We never should
put
have.
it.
We never should have had Amazon in the first place.
I mean,
Are there any upcoming projects, events, or initiatives you'd like to share?
so as I mentioned earlier, we're going to have a deep presence at the San Fernando Valley Pride on Saturday, the 27th. And if you go to that website that we mentioned and you want to volunteer, we have lots of volunteer opportunities
Love that.
to just have fun. So you're just going to be able to hand out shirts, capture people's stories, pass out some zines that are specific to the work that we do and offer community an opportunity to heal. And then past that, we've got expungement related events happening all throughout the year.
Love it. Amazing. As we celebrate Pride Month and reflect on the history of cannabis, what gives you hope right now?
I think the biggest thing that gives me hope is that there's still so many people getting introduced to this plant on a daily basis and having their aha moments. And there's so many queer people that are boldly attending prides and sparking it up, even though they're not supposed to in some of these areas or spaces, and just being themselves. So that gives me hope that this next generation is still going to continue the radical ways that so many people before me had and are going to just continue to have fun and make sure as many people choke on it as possible.
Felicia. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story, your perspective, and the incredible work you're doing. For those listening, be sure to check out the Social Impact Center and learn more about the work they're doing to support communities impacted by the war on drugs. Thank you for tuning in to THC Design Sessions. If you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, follow along, and share this conversation with someone who would appreciate it. Happy Pride Month, and we'll see you next time on THC Design Sessions.